My dear people of St. Martin, today I stand before you with a heavy heart to address a grave and tragic event that has shaken our community to its core. Last evening, starting in the Kupukoi area, an act of violence was committed against the leader of the Coalition Movement for Change in the name of Mr. Olivier Arendel and his family. At noon today, I met with the public prosecutor, management of KPSM, the Police Department of St. Martin, the VDSM being the National Security Service, and the Minister of Justice, Lyndon Lewis, and also the President of Parliament, MP Sarah Westcott-Williams, to get a full debrief and discussion regarding the most recent developments. Mr. Arendel was ambushed by gunmen who fired upon him and his family. Tragically, Mrs. Arendel's wife Sabine was fatally wounded in the attack and has passed away. This brutal act of violence also saw Mr. Arendel himself suffer a gunshot wound, though I am relieved to report that his injuries were not life-threatening and he was released from the St. Martin Medical Center earlier this morning. Their young daughter, who was also in the vehicle at the time, has been left to endure this unimaginable trauma. Additionally, another individual in the name of Mr. Lawrence Lake was also shot in this incident, and I was informed he underwent surgery this morning. His condition is completely stable at this particular moment. This is a dark day for our nation. An attack on any citizen is an attack on all of us. Our hearts go out to Mr. Arendel, his family, and the loved ones of Sabine, who lost her life in such a senseless act. We share in their grief and offer our deepest condolences during this time of profound sorrow. The authorities are diligently working to investigate this horrific crime. At this stage, there is no indication that this has been politically motivated, and the investigation's conclusion will determine what has been the exact motivation. I assure you that we will leave no stone unturned in our pursuit of justice. The police are actively seeking those responsible for this act, and they will be held accountable for their actions. We will ensure that such acts of violence are met with the full force of the law. As your Prime Minister, I want to explicitly state that violence has no place in our political discourse and no place in our society. We must stand united against hatred and division and work together to build a peaceful and prosperous future for our citizens. My young people and young citizens of St. Martin, especially you, in these challenging times, it's crucial for each of us, especially you, the future of our country, to uphold the principles that form the bedrock of our democracy, being respect for authority, understanding, and tolerance. Violence and hatred have no place in our community or no political discussions. As young people, you have the power to influence change by promoting peace, showing empathy, and respecting diverse opinions. By doing so, you can help build a safer and more harmonious St. Martin for everyone. Remember, our strength lies in being unified. By practicing tolerance and understanding in your daily interactions, you contribute to a culture of peace and mutual respect. Together, we can create a brighter and more inclusive St. Martin where every citizen feels valued and heard. So today, I call upon all leaders, political parties and citizens to come together in solidarity. Let us condemn this act of violence and renew our commitment to maintaining peace and order in our beloved St. Martin. Now, more than ever, we must demonstrate our resilience and our resolve to protect the values we hold dear. As your Prime Minister, with my government, I have a responsibility to be the guardian of your security and safety, and will do everything in my power to ensure that that happens. Within the short term, more support will be on the ground as the first step to ensuring our national security. This was decided since last week Friday to be implemented. Thank you, and may we find the strength and unity to overcome this tragedy together. May God bless and protect our people and our country.
There are a lot of talks about an influx of foreign labor. So I wanted to touch on a meeting that I had with, for instance, with Finso, who is, that is the company that's building the hospital. And there, it will be inevitable that we will have to bring in people. The last project of this magnitude that we have seen was Sonesta, when we were rebuilding Sonesta. And now Finso with rebuilding the hospital, the amount of people that will be needed at a given moment, we will need over 300 people. So in the peak of the building period, we will need over 300 people. And we're anticipating that we will not have all of those people on the island. We are working together with Finso, and so I had a meeting with them this week. We are working together with them to see if we that we can employ as many people as possible, but it's inevitable that we will have to bring in people, and so we are looking into that. And it's very skilled labor and sometimes very specific labor, and so that will be coming. So I am just letting the community know that. Finso is a partner who has always participated in our job fair as well. And they have also done trainings in the past for our people, and they pledge to continue to do that. And this is a project of national interest because it is our hospital. Everybody wants a hospital done. It comes with us bringing in some people to work on work permits. So that will be coming up. And besides that, I had also a meeting yesterday with the school boards. Teachers are also one group that there's a shortage of teachers globally, and so in St. Martin as well. So we bring in teachers, the school boards bring in teachers regularly, and it's always a bit of an issue. And so yesterday we had a meeting with the school boards in order to hear from them what are all the issues and how we can facilitate. So
are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Madam Chair Lady, in connection herewith, I wish to bring another matter to the attention of the Minister. And that is the matter that I have been asking ministers of VROMI, Minister of Finance even, and it regards the following. Madam Chair Lady, I happen to have picked up that a case was filed by the management of Mullet Bay, the current management of Mullet Bay, against the government of St. Martin. And so I asked, firstly, if that had taken place, and it was confirmed that a case was filed. So I asked the previous minister if I could receive the outcome of that case. So to the minister before us now, Minister, on the 15th of April of this year, I wrote the following to the Ministry of Romi. In response to one of my questions posed during the budget debate regarding the court's decision in relation to Sun Resort Limited NV, you, so the minister then, provided by email of March 25th the judgment of the court dated February the 19th, 2024. However, this document, so the one that I received in answer to my question, the document refers to a judgment of the court of the 3rd of November, 2023. In the judgment provided, the court instructs the government to execute the court's decision of last November. In fact, the court, on the 19th of February, summoned the minister to comply with its decision of November the 3rd within 3 weeks after February 19th. So, while I received that, I have not received what the case was that was filed based on what the court rendered a judgment. So my question then, Minister, and I put it with you again, could you provide me with a judgment of November the 3rd, 2023 in the case of Sun Resort Limited NV versus the Minister of Romi? And then I also ask, on April the 15th of this year, has the minister executed the judgment of February 19, 2024? If not, why not? And if yes, when was it executed? I also ask, in connection with the court's verdict, and I don't have the verdict, that's what I would like to have, was a penalty imposed? And if so, for what amount? So, Minister, I just want you to know that in connection with the beaches and Mullet Bay and et cetera, apparently this was filed. And from what I understood, Minister, let's be candid, the management of Sun Resort asked the government of St. Martin to clear off the Mullet Bay beach from all structures on the beach. That was the request. And the court made a decision that I would like to receive, and on the basis of that decision, the court earlier this year demanded that the government execute the decision. So, Minister, if you can please provide some clarity in this case so that we can understand what happened. And that is why I refer to my request for a meeting of 2022 regarding the management of beaches. Because, Minister, this matter is going to come very, very much into play when the matter of Mullet Bay, the sale or not, comes into question, especially where the beach is concerned. So,
through you, Madam Chair, I will give an elucidation of this court case for clarity's sake, as I don't want information to be lost in translation, and they go very slowly. On November 3rd, 2022, a verdict was handed down to the Ministry of Romi. This concerned a simple LOB request, a request for information from the ministry. The request by Sun Resorts was to receive the information on all rental agreements and approved building permits for the area of the Mullet Bay Beach. The then administration did not show up for the court case, so the judge ruled in favor of Sun Resort and instructed government at the time to present the requested information within 3 weeks. Unfortunately, Madam Chair, this was not done on time and actually has not been done at all. On the 19th of February, 2024, the judge handed down yet another verdict for this same information request. This means that up to then, the ministry did not respond to the request at all. The verdict of February 19th, 2024, ruled that the government had yet another 3 weeks to answer the LOB request. And if not, after that risk, a dwang sum or fine of 500 guilders per day with a maximum of 50,000 guilders per day would be imposed. Unfortunately, Madam Chair, none of this was enough to move the previous minister to deliver the requested information, and thus government now has to pay that fine. When this administration came in, the cabinet at the time was made aware of this case. We prioritized the case and got into contact with the lawyers of Sun Resort to come to an agreement to hopefully deliver the requested information and maybe agree on something for an already issued dwang sum fine that we at that point had already owed. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the amount was 27,000 guilders at that point. The government would have had to pay because of the lack of response. I can share with you, MP Westcott Williams, through you, Madam Chair, that on the 26th of June of this year, a day after I sworn in, the Department of Domain Affairs delivered the requested information to the lawyers of Sun Resorts. And since then, we have been in contact with them for any other relevant information that they may need. This again shows, Madam Chair.
With respect to the question that was posed by MP Westcott Williams regarding the court case, you mentioned through you, Madam Chair, that the lawyer didn't show up to the court case, or the minister didn't show up to the court case. Just for clarity's sake, ministers don't show up to court case. We have vast representatie, which is the lance avocat, and in special cases, we can mandate a special designated lawyer to handle certain cases. So I would like clarity from the minister through you, Madam Chair, as to who didn't show up to that court case. And it's so amazing that certain points that not even requested are being answered here, but other things that are brought forward are not. So I'd like to know as well, because since we're talking about court cases and different things, I've seen a lot of court cases be settled. Alegria was a court case that I fought tooth and nail to secure the patrimony of St. Martin. I realized, though, in another instance, we were also battling something in court where the minister, I think it's the same day he took office, had to be because the article came out that day, went and basically signed off the decree for Maho. And I have yet to hear the minister publicly address that point because I brought it forward several times, and it was disguised as though, the country will benefit and make money on it. But I have something to add to that. Someone lost their job at Cadastre for falsifying information. So was a thorough investigation done prior to signing this? Because it's a reason that it was not signed.
Duran, this, again, if you could keep the clarifications and the questions to the TNO
Madam Chair, we
report.
can be sometime-ish because I'm talking about court cases, so I delve into that. The minister brought up certain points, so I'm just delving into that.
That was
Thanks
based
for your
on
indulgence.
MP Westcott's question, which I had already said the minister could have answered in writing if he wanted.
So maybe you
because
could answer
it was
this in writing
outside
as
of the
well.
topic. So with that being also kind of outside of the topic, I would say you can submit that question in writing to the minister.
No, but this is a floor of parliament, Madam Chair, whereas the minister is hearing the question.
Yes, but as the chair, I've already stated that we will no longer deviate
okay,
that
when it's
wildly. The
convenient.
culvert question, the minister graciously answered already, which he could have also chosen to answer in writing. So if there are questions related to building permits, etc., I believe the question on building permits pertain to the TNO, well, to the GB situation. One moment. So if there are questions you have pertaining to GB, energy, TNO, grid market, etc., then those questions I will allow.
But
Do
he
you have
answered
questions
question
related to
off
that?
the topic, so I'm just touching based on what the minister,
I
Madam
think he was
Chair.
elucidating on the question of
He-
how many
That's a
building
lot
permits
of
have been
elucidation
signed.
for about 3 minutes.
Well,
So
thorough answer to the question. So are there questions related to the topic?
everything is related to the best interest of the people of St. Martin that I ask on this floor, Madam Chair Lady.
Understood. But in terms of the topic of TNO, are there questions related to GB, energy, etc.?
I was making a statement. Maybe if I was allowed to finish, then I will definitely touch on the point because all my questions are related to the point.
All right.
Thank you. So as I mentioned just now, just to finish that point before I get in trouble again, you were able so quick to sign off the land for Maho, which was something that was a whole investigation. Someone lost their job for that. And no due diligence, in my opinion, could be done within 1 day, which are extra I think thousands of square meters was allocated. So please clarify that in writing, as the chair mentioned. And I think that since we're mentioning a lot of things that you're doing differently, it's also important to keep the facts when it comes to, you know, the grade and the handling of the grade and so forth. Reason I'm saying that is because you mentioned that 45 building permits were assigned for small homes. What's a small development? What quantifies a small development? 3 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 10 bedrooms? Because a lot of small development adds up to a boutique hotel. So I would like some clarity where that is concerned. And question is, point blank, was GB consulted prior to these building permits being signed? Yes or no? Because the minister, through you, Madam Chair, gave a nice fancy story, went to Marigot, come back with the answer, but still didn't answer that clear-cut question. What I heard later down in the answers, Madam Chair, is that the minister mentioned that GB has received certain information for certain building permits that seem to be kind of big, but they cannot decide if the building permit is approved, yes or no. And then in the end mentions that we have to do things responsibly, so that responsible decision-making cannot cause GB to come behind after the thing is done already. But then that's basically contradiction, but it doesn't surprise me because this has been the MO of the current administration. I've heard previous administration, I think maybe 150 times during the answering of 20 questions. So I'll just highlight the current administration. When it comes to stopping large developments, Minister, I want to be clear through you, Madam Chair. This has been the stance of your party. I don't know if you don't know it or not, but this has been the stance of the PFP. And even going back to a couple meetings that I had where I was sitting in that seat, where they mentioned, can we consider stopping large-scale developments, which ties into this whole GB saga according to them. So you're currently a minister representing a particular platform. So my question to you is pretty clear. Do you believe in enacting a building stop? Will you? Is it in the pipeline? Is it being considered, given our current state of affairs? That is my question. So if it wasn't clear before, that is a question.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health
For the upcoming parliamentary election of August 19th, 2024, the SAM will appear as list number 1 with the color orange. The NA will appear as list number 2 with the color white. The ECE will appear as list number 3 with the color purple. The Democratic Party will appear as list number 4 with the color red. The OMC as candidate list number 5 will appear with the color gray. The NOW will appear as candidate list number 6 with the color yellow. The UP will appear as candidate list number 7 with the color green. The PFP will appear with the color gold as candidate list number 8. And the URSM will be candidate list number 9 with the color teal. I will sign these proof of submission, and once we close the meeting, I'll hand them out to everybody so that those viewing at home don't have to keep waiting at us, looking at us sign papers. I would like to congratulate all the parties that are moving on to the ballot of this upcoming August 19, 2024 election. As I started off by saying, at the Central Voting Bureau, our task is to ensure that we have free, fair, open, and transparent elections, and we'll continue to carry out that task to the best of our ability as we've been sworn to do. Once again, best of luck to everybody the upcoming time, and thank you for all of those viewing at home and watching and listening on the radio, and have a pleasant day to everybody. Further, that brings us to the end of this public meeting, and just for sake of reference, also we have no further public meetings planned between us and the parties leading up to Election Day. So of course we will remain in touch with the parties, with respect to public order, with respect to especially, how when it comes to, I guess, the night itself and counting and things like that within the polling stations, and how we can ensure that that things go a little bit smoother than they did the previous election. But those were our conversations that will happen between the Central Voting Bureau and the party reps in due time. So thank you all again for your presence, and I wish everybody a pleasant day further.